So we are here with Santiago. So he is one of my amazing clients, and I want to have him share with you how he's been able to kick 2020 in the ass and take action toward his goals. So where do we start, man? So I kind of want to let you take the floor and talk about kind of how you managed to do this, how you managed to lose 25 pounds through quarantine, over 25 pounds, but while being able to fit in, delicious meals, cocktails, feeling great the entire way through. So let's just go back to square one. So what got you started working with me?
Um, it was almost as just kind of like one day. I mean, I've been working out. I've worked out before, but I guess kind of one day after this, after the new year, getting back to work, I was kind of looking at myself, and I just thought like, well, you know, it like I was looking at some high school pictures or something, and I was like, oh, like wow, like damn, I used to look. I mean, I didn't feel like I looked terrible, but I was like, wow, like I was like pretty fit, like in shape, and so I've been working out and not necessarily very committed. And I remember that just even back then when I was in high school, most of the workouts I did was because I was like part of a team, or I had like someone kind of like in my corner vouching for me.
Right, right.
And that's pretty much it. I was like, you know what, I really want to do this. I know doing it by myself is probably going to be too hard, and I've tried it, and
Right.
I might stick with things for like a month or two, or maybe a little bit more. But in the end, I would like maybe let it all go on the wayside, or my knowledge and proper exercise, or what was enough, so I wouldn't over exercise or under exercise, or like
Right,
the
yeah.
factors that nutrition played in that I didn't really know. And so I figured, reach out to someone that I think did, and I've been
Yeah.
pretty happy ever since.
Yeah. So what do you think was like your biggest struggle then when you first got started? Before we got started, sorry. What was your biggest
Just
struggle?
I think probably consistency in general, like being able to stick with a routine and work these things into like my daily life, like just trying to find little hacks so I could get myself excited for these things, or
Hmm.
just even remember to do them, or even get my brain in gear, saying like, it's like, okay, you might not want to go work out right now, but like, it's a good thing for you, like maybe try and fit it in, you'll feel great afterwards. And
Yeah.
you know just things like that, just
Yeah, totally.
staying in the like getting in the groove of things mostly, because
Hmm.
what would happen before is I would maybe work out for 2 months, 3 months, or like start eating great, and then like maybe we'd have a crunch for a project at work or something, so I might stay later, or like be a little bit more stressed, so I wouldn't really want to think about anything else other than like getting home and just relaxing.
Yeah, so obviously you identified those things that you were struggling with, and then we had that first call where we sort of mapped out the challenges you were facing. We saw that vision that you wanted, where you wanted to go, and then we kind of bridged the
Mm-hmm.
gap between those. And then after that, we sort of spent several weeks kind of getting up to speed on structured workout routine, on food diaries, really just getting down to basic habits. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, what after we did all that, what were some of the changes that you noticed straight out of the gates?
Um, well, I know that, for example, uh, the water and just the overall activity level during the day, like, I wouldn't necessarily, and I'm not talking like going out and running or anything, just even like getting my steps in, or like making sure I get enough water, like that in the end made me actually feel a little bit more relaxed, because I would take little walks during the day just to make sure I got my steps in, and like that would help clear my head, and
Yeah,
just kind of help me just get all the other stuff out of my head for a while. And then I don't know, like I used to be very snacky, and I used to not drink a lot of water actually. So like I don't know, like I was also getting used to just getting my fluids in
yeah,
during the day. Just kind of helped me feel more satiated, and I think like in general just a little bit, yeah, just like dialed in during the day, I would say probably.
Yeah. So those small habits that we started to add in, they kind of started to compound a little bit,
Hmm.
started to feel a little bit better. You notice some different changes there. Um, so really, kind of one of the things that I'm really against is just kind of throwing out that meal plan and just giving things that you can and can't have. So instead, I kind of just guided you towards making those small habit changes. So how do you think that impacted your results?
Well, I think they kind of started building me up towards something that was more sustainable. Like I know that when you started like kind of adding them little by little, uh, it it's not like the scale was not necessarily moving. Like I was, as I said, like I was feeling a little bit more relaxed with the walks, a little bit more satiated with the day, but like the scale was not moving. But then I felt that as like we progress into a little bit more of the nitty gritty things and like the more specialized like tracking and everything,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of when I have I kind of saw it like start dropping, and it was
Yeah.
great, and it was also nice because it was not necessarily sacrificing like eating out or like certain things that I like. It
Right. Yeah.
was kind of like you're like eat this types, like I want you to get these amount of nutrients each day, like a set amount of protein, carbs, whatever, and then like I mean you were guiding me in a way, but it was like, okay, you have to meet these goals. Like
Mm-hmm.
I want to show you meet those, but you know how you get there, or like what you choose to eat is kind of like up to you.
Right.
So in a way, it's like, okay, I can see the things that I like, that for example that I like to eat and everything, and maybe realize that like, hey, maybe I was just piling way too big of portions when I was eating, or like, hey, what other like similar things I can substitute this for?
Mm-hmm.
Just like little things like that, like little tweaks. Because I mean, growing up, I knew like, oh, you want to have your veggies in your plate and like some protein, whatever, but not necessarily the amounts. So it's like, okay, like I know I have to have stuff, but I was not aware necessarily of how much I was piling in, or like if what I was piling in into my plate was exactly what I needed.
Mm-hmm. So you kind of had a lot of flexibility there, and that was something that was pretty awesome because you were able to fit in some things that you enjoyed on a regular basis. So what were those things that you were able to fit in? Um,
Well, shortly after the lockdown started, I started a daily quarantine cocktail.
oh yeah.
It started kind of as a joke one weekend with my coworkers, and then eventually I woke up the next morning and I was like, well, you know, it's just one drink, like it can't hurt. And I know I brought it up to you because I was like, hey, like I'm drinking like a cocktail a day, which is not necessarily a lot, but it's also not something you'd consider like healthy.
Right.
But you're like, yeah, man, like I mean, if you're hitting your macros and you got like and like if like I mean, you said like it's all about just simple math, no? Like you need X amount of calories a day, and then if you're hitting the goals, I mean, there's no need to feel bad about it, right?
Yep.
So
Yep. That's exactly right.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So you are an absolute cocktail connoisseur. I was inspired by all those cocktails you were making.
Nah,
But
thanks. They kept me sane.
yeah, I mean, it was awesome to see that though, just because you were able to get those things in and still see amazing progress. And so many people think that's not even possible. So it was cool to see how you struck that balance and still achieve the goal. And that's kind of like, I feel like that's mind blowing for some people to see. It's all about that balance, man. And I totally encourage
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So, um, but let's talk a little bit more then specifically about your results. So I'm going to attach maybe your before and your after just so kind of there's a visual here up on the screen. But
Hmm.
talk to me kind of about what you achieved and maybe even go a little bit past just the physical stuff. So what like mentally changed for you as well?
Um. Well, I mean, what I achieved was obviously like I dropped like 25-ish pounds, which was great. Um.
Oh yeah. Yep.
As far as, I mean, as far as feeling, like, I don't know, like there was a time like like once I dropped a few pounds that I was kind of like on my way to the shower, and I was like walked by the mirror and I was like, damn, wow, like I'm looking better than I thought. Like it was great.
Yeah. 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 That's awesome to see and to hear that you've noticed those changes too. You've obviously worked really hard for it, and
Yeah.
I can't praise you enough for making that commitment to yourself, taking the action like you have. Um, but I guess there's one thing I do want to ask you. I want to ask you, like, if you were giving advice to somebody who's in that position that you were before you got started, so they're having those same sort of struggles, what kind of things would you tell that person?
Well, first of all, first of all, I would probably say is like you do have to get the first step, right? So like if you're feeling like you could lose a few pounds or something, or just like be a little bit more active, like it has to start with you. It can't be someone else that tells you, like like a family member or something be like, oh, like you gained a few pounds, and it's like, okay, yes, but like that's not necessarily gonna motivate you to do it. Like you can be like, yes, I mean, I know, like freshman 15 or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'd say also is just baby steps, and just kind of sticking to your guns in a way. It's like you don't expect it to just last a month or two, and then you're like, oh my god, this is great, like I'm there. Like no, like you do have to get up and put the work like every day, like, and I mean, it might be more work for someone, it might be less work for someone. Like keep a positive attitude, and it's like, okay, like we're gonna get there eventually, and just like try to
Hmm.
think like, okay, there eventually you'll get there. Not necessarily tomorrow or in a week, but like, if you keep adding on, you'll start seeing something.
Hmm. Yeah. Those baby steps. I like that, man. That's a mic drop right there. So again, thank you so much. I don't have a whole lot more to say after that. Congrats for all how far you've come, all your hard work. I kind of see over time how this has impacted you, and then how this has kind of become more ingrained into your habits, into your life now, and that's pretty awesome to see. So yeah, I'm excited to see you continue improving, continue working at this. But I guess for those of you guys who are still watching, just take note of this guy. Take note of all that he's done. I'm also going to link an application form where you can reach out if you're interested in kind of getting started with this for yourself. So that's, I think, all I have for now. So thanks again, Santiago, and we'll catch up here soon. All right.
Yeah, man. No, thank you. It's been a great experience, and I've been really enjoying it.
All
Take
right,
care.
man. We'll sign out, and I'll see you later.